All right, folks, so the new Bail Act was tabled in Parliament last year by Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahou Fort, with the focus on balancing human rights with safety and security needs. Attorney at Law Alexander Shaw joined just now to, well, maybe not to break it down, just to tell us what go on. Morning, sir. Welcome to Smile Jamaica. Pass don't necessarily mean it is in law just yet, right?
No.
So it's not in law just yet?
Not in law yet.
So what obtains right now? So if I go jail daily, I can just come in and say, I want bail in an argument done?
Well, the current Bail Act is that of 2002. So we're still working with that act until this is given the final stamp of approval. Right. So it's still, we're still discussing it. And if needs be, amendments will be made. Because you can understand there are a number of new provisions that are causing trepidation in the fraternity.
Well, actually, I don't understand, but I was going to ask that question. So why the need to change the act?
So it is on the basis of the rising crime rate. And I think there's a view out there that persons who are on bail are the ones who are causing problems. And so to address that, this piece of legislation is being introduced. But not only that, it also introduces new provisions that are not in the existing legislation. And one such is the pre-charge defendant. Because no, if you're not charged, then there's no need to consider bail.
You shouldn't be in jail.
Because you shouldn't be in jail.
Right.
No, if you are not charged, but the police is gathering or doing their investigation, gathering evidence to prefer a charge against you, they can actually hold you, which means no. And so it will become legal with this new piece of law.
Okay.
Right? So that is one of the provisions that is very concerning for many attorneys and for Jamaicans in general, as well as the responsibility now for surety. Because as it stands now, as a surety, your main obligation is to ensure that the accused person turns up for court. No, you have to ensure that the person abides by every condition imposed by the court. And sometimes those conditions are, quite voluminous, depending on the nature of the offense that the person is before the court for. Report to police station. 2 times a day and kind of thing, and what if you miss, one of your reporting days? So that is also, and even in terms of the time limits. So you take, for example, as it stands now, if you are arrested after 24 hours, bail, the question of bail must come up. Bail should be considered. This legislation is now saying 48 hours. So,
For any reason you're arrested or just
for
serious crime?
For any reason.
So if not like a petty theft thing, I still have to stay in jail for 48 hours before I can
Yes, before, within 48 hours. So it doesn't mean that you have to wait after 48 hours. Within that time, the question of bail should be considered. But we know our system and it's not perfect. And so sometimes you will have deficiencies arising from, provisions like these.
Is there anything that's different in this new act that would put greater responsibility on the individual that is, I guess, offering bail on behalf of someone? I don't know what you call that person. Person standing surety.
Yes. Yes, because as I was saying earlier, that person now has to ensure that the accused person, the defendant, abides by every condition imposed by the court. So as it stands now, you just need to ensure that when the person has court, the person turns up for court. So if he has court tomorrow, then you have to call, check with him and ensure that he's actually, attending court. But there are times when the court will impose a condition for you to live in a certain community. You have to ensure that the person stays within that community. There is even what we call curfew orders. So you should be, off the road, say at 6 p.m. What if the person is on the road 8 p.m.? As the surety, you have a responsibility to ensure that the person abides by the condition.
Yeah, by the way, again, going back to me going to jail, they pay $1 million for. You have to pay, or you just make them know that you have the money. You have to physically give them the money.
Well, not necessarily. You have to show, you have to demonstrate that you have the ability
okay,
to pay.
so Delia says she will cover the $1 million.
Yes.
And me abscond.
Yes.
She have to pay that $1 million?
Yes, she has to.
That's what obtains now?
Yes.
What if I don't have the $1 million?
Well,
I replace him as a guest of the government.
Well, if you don't have the $1 million, because you would have guaranteed the court that, listen, I am going to stand surety, which means that I am taking responsibility.
Yeah, but some people would put up like them house and stuff.
Yes.
So what in that, them come take our house?
Why not?
No, I'm being very serious here.
Yes, because it's, you see, and it's a serious obligation. So, which is why you have to consider long and hard before you enter into this recognizance.
But don't they have, what they call them, bail bond, what them call them? Bail.
Oh, well, the bail man.
Yeah.
Yeah, those persons who it's their profession. No, there's a greater responsibility on them because, you know, when you just take up somebody or when you just bail someone who you don't know, you have no relation with.
Yeah, but going back to the area money now, so immediately she have to come up with this money like if I abscond. And I'm supposed to report to a police station. I'm being serious on Tuesday. Tuesday, I don't turn up. What them do? Them just call Delia right away and say...
So Delia has a responsibility to ensure that, you know, she approaches the court and says, listen, I am turning in this person or, you know, I am, you know, I want to release myself from being a surety because I suspect that he will not turn up for court. So you have to take steps to ensure that you protect yourself, you guard your interests.
Explain that again, because she don't tell the court that she would stand surety for me.
Yes.
And then I run off.
Yeah.
So what she do, when I run off, she just go back to the court and say,
no, but I have to do it before you run.
No, because then, remember now, you know, you would have had to ensure, so you can, because the person run off, you have to be in discussion with that person. How is it that the person just decide to just run off like that? Weren't you in discussion with the person? Because your responsibility is to take that person to court.
Yeah.
The bailer man thing is an official job? Or?
No, it's not. It's not. But they do it on the side. It's perhaps something that we should try to, you know...
Because you
get like, more formalized.
Again, I'm being serious now. Because when you watch TV, you have people, bailer people who have them full office and thing, and people go to them. And so not go so in Jamaica.
It is part of the culture, the informal culture, but it's nothing that is, you know, streamlined, nothing that is recognized.
You might not know this, but what would be the benefit? I mean, if Clive is the bailer man, he don't know me, but I go jail and I want him to bail me, what would be the benefit for him, whether I go to court or don't go to court?
Interest on my bail.
But that's what I want to know.
Yes, so for example, and there's an article in The Observer a few days ago where one was explaining that in the event you are granted bail for, say, $100,000,
right,
and your family has no one to stand surety,
right,
you will pay the bailman a percentage of that figure, and he will stand surety for you.
And him keep that money?
Yeah, man. That's
whether
his money.
I get where or not?
Yeah, because, you know, you're on bail and he's doing his job.
He's doing his job. But it has its disadvantages, because that same article, the gentleman says he's received a lot of death threats from people and so on. So it's not...
Why death threats?
Because him tell them to pay him back his money and them not paying. So, you know, it's some... This says the new bail law will permit a grant of bail at 3 stages.
Yes.
Alexander, you spoke about pre-charge. Is post-charge and post-conviction new, or does that pertain now?
No, because post-conviction, so there are persons who, for example, are convicted and they believe that the conviction is faulty because of some reason, maybe in law or the evidence. You know, those persons can be offered bail pending the appeal, and persons who are charged. Because what we're accustomed to, 2 stages, those who are charged and post-conviction. So the only new one is the pre-charge.
Yeah.
Okay.
While you were talking, I'm trying to figure out the word I'm supposed to, and I can't come up with it. But when you can bail yourself, for them say them let you on your own recognizance or something like that.
Yes. So
what kind of conditions would that be? That I go jail and them say, all right, you know.
It depends on the offense, because for example, you're charged for murder. Hardly ever a case where somebody is granted bail in their own surety.
Because it's murder.
Yes.
But if I go to like a traffic light or something.
Yeah, you can be granted bail in your own surety. So it all depends on the nature of the offense. And, you know, your character is always, you know, in question and will benefit you at some point.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know about this bail man work.
Please do not ask.
You know, I must say though.
Yeah, go.
I must say that it also introduces the electronic device. You know, so I think section 8 talks about electronic tracking device.
But they put on your ankle.
Yes. So those persons who, you know, want to abscond bail will have to think twice, because then they have something now to monitor you whilst you're on
yeah, but
bail.
in Jamaica, this scenario is there. In Jamaica. So
we'll find creative ways.
When me and Negri really tracking device, they me right out of the court and wait for going. I'm there Negri and swim.
But I also suspect though that there'll be some penalty for those persons, because you know, as you introduce these new legislations or provisions, you'll have to find ways.
When will this be in law?
Well, I'm not certain at this moment, because it is something that is still being discussed and understandably so.
You guys as in attorneys, you guys okay with what they're saying, or they are
Oh no.
Oh no?
No, because you see, the problem is the pre-charged defendant has no entitlement to bail. So you are the least culpable in law.
Explain that.
So when you look at Section 5, Section 5 speaks to pre-charged defendant. That person may get bail, but the charged defendant is entitled to bail.
Okay.
So police, well.
Yeah.
So you guys still have to talk about this?
Yes, we need to have more discussion so that, you know, we can, you know, flesh out our views to the parliamentarians.
Them going to kill me, but we are any different
And
from
I'm not
anywhere
going
else
to
in the
bail
world?
you.
Yeah, we are different from anywhere else in the world? Re-bail and stuff?
Yes, but there are other jurisdictions with similar provisions in terms of, you know, pre-charge defendant, but it's a little different. And, you know, the trepidation is really because of the fear of abuse of power in our system.
All right. Thanks, my friend.
All right.
Attorney at Law, Alexander Shaw.
After the break, Marlon Hill makes partner at WSHCB. We'll soon come.